Welcome to the round 2 of FIDE World's Women's Team Chess Championship. I'm Women Grandmaster Dina Belenkaya, and here with me, Grandmaster Ina Krush. And as we said, round 2 is right about to start, but let us first take a look at the format of this event. So here we have a round-robin stage, very first stage. In this round, teams are divided up into 2 pools with approximately the same strength. The time control is 45 minutes plus 10 seconds increment. If team wins a point, then they score 2 points. If they make a draw, it's only 1 point, and obviously 0 for a loss. And as we know already, top 4 teams in each group advance to the playoff round, which we will speak about later on. Let us now bring the tie breaks of this round robin. Irina, what do we have here?
Yeah, so in fact, just to clarify for everyone, this is a team tournament and it is being decided by match points. So it's very important that the teams out of 4 games get to that minimum 2.5, 1.5 score to win the match. But after that, then there's a number of tie-break factors, and the most important one is a total number of game points. So winning your matches with a big score can be very helpful for the tie breaks, but just winning them, period, is the most important thing. After that, we got other Sonneborn Burger tie breaks. No one ever knows what those are, so we're not going to talk about it. I don't think it's ever going to be relevant. Berlin system, yeah, that's real funny. I don't think we're going to get to that. So then those 4 teams are going to qualify for the playoffs, and their the matchups are going to be decided by how they've done in this preliminary stage. We have teams from all over the world, and they've been selected from various criteria, by rating, by being like the strongest teams on their continents, and how they've their average rating on the FIDE Rapid lists. There's also a team that was nominated, two teams by the FIDE President, one team from the host country. So Spain is playing in this event, and I see that the players, they're actually already have begun round two. We see them in the video camera here. That's Katerina Lano playing. And who is she playing against? We can tell.
Yeah, she's playing against Andrea Novotasco from France.
Ah,
Yeah, very decent player, and also a streamer, I believe. And Andrea is a woman international master, for sure chasing her grandmaster norms. So why not? But this is rapid; it is different. You not for now. We cannot win titles from rapid tournaments, but that actually might come as we see changes already. Irene, it makes me think about the time that we live right now. We actually see on in front of our eyes the changes, actually that crucial changes. It's for the first time ever in history, a world championship, team world championship, is being played in rapid and not in classical as it was before in the previous formats, and that actually may be a big start of a new generation of chess players, and the way how chess transforms with the time.
yeah, I mean, I was gonna say we live in an interesting time. I mean, it's harder and harder to play tournaments, you know. Actually, one of my favorite tournaments, Dina, the Gibraltar Chess Open. I heard from a friend of mine recently that that's it. Like that tournament is not going to happen anymore. That the hotel is being sold to the Hilton, and without that, the Coletta Hotel, supporting and being the host venue, I guess it would be very hard to hold that event. And I mean, especially with these kinds of travel restrictions now, I mean, I can understand. But that's a pity. It's a pity because some of these tournaments have been just amazing, amazing for the world of chess. And to see Gibraltar being, ending, it's kind of like, I guess, like Linares ending, for the top players.
Yeah, it is indeed heartbreaking. I really hope that that's just a rumor and not yet the actual statement, and we still do have some hope. By the way, I believe the organizer, the director of Gibraltar Chess, Stuart Conquest, is right now in sieges himself on the spot, so we might actually be able to have a chat with him, maybe even invite him for an interview one day. We will see that later, but either way, yeah, it is heartbreaking indeed. And yeah, the time has changed, but when it comes to shorter time control for chess game, it is actually way more interesting for not only for spectators but also for sponsors, and that would actually mean to get more new sponsors into chess, which would eventually help us promote this fascinating game. And speaking about the games have started, and we see right now on the screens the position from the board number one. Georgia versus Kazakhstan, Zagnize versus Abdu Malik. Now, when we were speaking with Irina behind the scenes, we sort of decided that this actually might be the highest matchup of the round two, and we actually might be sticking to this one throughout the whole way.
Yeah, this is very exciting because Shansaya Abdu Malik, she is you know up and coming young player from Kazakhstan, who just recently made her grandmaster norm, in by winning the women's Grand Prix in Gibraltar, and that was back in January. Wow, January, was it that January 2021? That was that
That
long
was
ago?
no, that was
Oh,
actually May. That was May
May.
2021, and in
Oh,
fact, she already had all the three grandmaster norms. So she just finally hit 2500 barrier. That has been a very difficult thing for her, and yeah, that being said, she did become a grandmaster, new grandmaster, the highest title you can get in chess,
yeah.
and not so many women have this title, and we have one of them with us today. So indeed,
You know,
indeed.
Dina, I was like, I remember following this tournament in Gibraltar, and I was like, could it possibly have been in January, like 9 months ago? It didn't feel like it was that long ago. So I'm glad you reminded us that it was in May, right? Because that makes more sense. And that was one of the first, over the board events actually for like the top women to come back to. I mean, I think since they played their candidates, was it no, it was a Grand Prix in like Lausanne in
It
March of
was
2020.
Yeah, that's correct. That was the last high level event. It was in
It was
Lausanne.
March 2020, and so
Yeah,
I hadn't
correct.
played anything for like a while. And so this return with the Grand Prix to Gibraltar in May of 21 was a big deal, and it was won with a very convincing score by Jansaya. She won the tournament, I think, with a round or maybe even 2 rounds to spare. I can't remember. Was it 1 or 2 rounds to spare?
Yeah,
Definitely 1 round to spare,
one right now, I would
100%.
say, yeah, but also
Yeah.
needs checking.
And
Either
so,
way, she won it very convincingly.
yeah, and Zagnize played in that tournament as well. So, I mean, this is a really good clash between two top players.
Correct. And let us see what we have here. As far as we can see right now from the cameras, it seems like Shinsai is the one who is thinking. And I'm quite surprised to see Jansaya playing in the mask. I mean, this is just a detail, not saying much, but me myself, I have been extremely active during the pandemic. In Russia, very few tournaments were canceled. In fact, I think I've already played something like 6 or 8 over the board tournaments, and usually players do not actually wear any masks on the board. That is understandable, helps them to concentrate better. But here we do see some of them, and it's nice also to see players taking care of not only their own health but also the health of their opponents and caring about others.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure, probably people who put on the masks, they primarily want to protect themselves or they think it's protective for themselves. I think it would be pretty funny to be like, I'm gonna protect your health and it's fine if you don't protect mine. Let me just give you all the advantages. I don't know. I doubt that they're thinking about that. But I mean, um, let's see what this position that we got here. Let me not get into the minds of the players too much with the masks. We have a Grunfeld. Yeah, so that's not surprising that Grunfeld is a part of Jansai's repertoire. Um, and on e5, I guess we're okay. I don't know this move h3 actually played by Zagnize. I don't even know what the main moves in this position are. I'm not super familiar with it because I don't play the g3.
Yeah, looking at the
Grunfeld.
book, I have rook e1 as the main line and d5 as the second line.
Yeah.
H3 is line number 3, so it's still playable. There are more than 150 games. And now e5 just happened, and now we have only 31 game. All right, they are playing fast here this instantly. D5, this is the position of the board. It is pretty sharp. No, it's not a sharp position, but it's a dynamic position. So everything is changing, which is very typical for Grunfeld. You said yourself, Verena, it's not a surprise that Jansaya played Grunfeld. In fact, we might precise to our viewers, Jansaya is extremely, let's say, dynamical, concrete,
Yes.
and sharp player, aggressive player. So G6, Bishop G7, this kind of setup with a Grunfeld is suiting perfectly to her style.
Yeah, I agree. She is very good in dynamic play. That's her thing. So now what's gonna happen? I mean, now we're gonna see, I guess, other than knight b4, I mean, black can't really go e4. I think that's not gonna happen because on e4 we're gonna take the knight, and on pawn takes f3. We can even play queen takes f3, and white's gonna be, I don't know, up a pawn there. So, oh, knight a5 was played. Okay,
No,
that's
no, no,
right.
knight f5 wasn't. Oh,
Oh, it was
yeah.
not played.
Yeah,
Oh, it
it's
was
correct.
played.
It's
Yeah.
correct. It's correct. In queen c2.
In c2, and now, I mean, normally they're going to play, well, normally It's interesting because white didn't play e4. So I guess on knight takes d5, there's rook d1 and then e4. It's a poisoned pawn. You can't take it. You're going to lose material. So c6 is really the normal move here, right?
Right, c6. We would have something like b4 attacking the knight. Now, when the knight moves knight a to c4, we might see d takes c6, b takes c6, and something like. Well, there are many moves here. This position is pretty complex. Well, seems like computer gives equality here. Did black equalize? Probably yes, but the position is very rich, full of ideas. So here, I guess it is going to be about who understands this kind of positions better.
Yeah, so she played c6. So b4 is an option. What else is an option? I mean, taking on c6 is not going to be that dangerous for black. So I agree with you, Dina. I think b4 is by far the most likely move. Yeah, giving black the sort of isolated pawn, and I think she just played that. I felt like I saw her reach for something on the queen side. Yeah,
correct. We do have b4 here, and yeah, so far we might see knight c4. You know, Irina, I think this game is going to be very complex, and things might actually take some time to go forward. I would probably.
Can I tell you, Dina? Jean recently on Facebook, she posted some pictures of her recent cover shoot for Vogue magazine, Vogue Kazakhstan. Have you seen that?
Wow, wow! I haven't, but I did see. Some other shootings for those for another fancy magazine. I think it was Bazaar or something like that. But wow, this is something that I really it really makes me proud of as being a representative of women chess, is that players high level themselves do their best to promote our sport, and this is deserves a high recognition.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. So okay, knight ac4 was played, and now, so is white going to take the pawn? Because what else could she possibly do? It sort of makes the most sense. I think taking on c6 makes the most sense, right? I mean, there's rook d1. Yeah, you're suggesting rook d1, pawn takes, and knight takes d5. That's kind of interesting. But there is a possibility to play that way as well. So rook d1 cannot be discounted here.
Rook d1 is probably the move. You know, Irina, I think this game is gonna take some time. I would suggest we make a short tour, see how other boards are doing.
I like how you say that, short, like a tour of the boards, you know?
Yeah,
let
me take
tour.
you on the excursion.
Yeah, I like that. Because, I haven't traveled in a long time, Dina. So when I hear tour, I'm just so happy.
Yeah, and it's my pleasure. All right, here we have Dinar Duakaso on the board number 2 facing Nino Batashvili. And this looks like some Catalan, but in fact it was an English opening.
Yeah, and this is not a problematic position for black at all, as far as I can see. I mean, because she already has the whole queen side developed, right? So usually in these positions, like there is some pressure from the g2 bishop. In this position, black already has played bishop d7, rook c8, so she's pretty well positioned here. And it's black's turn. The c5 pawn is under attack. I mean, let's see, taking on d4 looks quite possible. b5, it's a move, right? It's very typical, but what happens on b5, knight b5? Like, what's the...
Apparently, this has been played already before. I see 32 games in the base, and all of them are with queen d3. No one takes on b5, so it might
I think knight a5 is like some kind of a...
Yeah, might not be dangerous. It's not yet losing. There is this knight on b5, which is in the dangerous situation. Probably there is a way to save it, but the position is definitely in black's favor, so this is not something that white wants.
Yeah, no, at this position, it looks familiar to me. I think I've seen it in maybe games of Anna Zatonsky before. Someone whose games I've had to, study quite a bit.
Yeah.
So black took on d4. Okay, well, that's fine. Sensible enough. So knight takes d4 is going to happen.
Knight takes d4. All right, knight takes d4 and queen takes d4. I suppose bishop c5, developing and attacking at the same time. Now either queen d1 or queen h4 are the moves that might... Oh, wow. Actually, the further we go, the more games there are in the base. Here's 78 games in this position, so it's all theory. And I actually think one of the players might be aware of that. They might be just trying to remember what was written in their files in their computer at home.
Yeah, there's some positions where there's some bishop h6 idea for white, but not, not here, but yeah, like later on. I guess if black moves their queen. If they move their queen, like if they move their queen to b6 in that position, can we
Okay.
after queen 8, after bishop c5, queen h4? And like let's say they try to protect the pawn on b7 by playing queen b6.
So queen h4 you were saying, and now
Queen b6, like yeah, for example. I mean, you
b6,
have to just
okay.
no, queen b6, queen b6.
Oh, right.
I just wanted to kind of bring out this bishop h6.
Ooh, looks like there is some kind of a tactical blow. Look at this one, bishop h6.
This reminds me, I think I'm pretty
move.
sure this is this old Portish game. For some reason, I remember it like that. And yeah, if you don't know this, then bishop h6 might come as a little bit of a shock.
Wow. If you don't know this, if you're not prepared for this one, now we need to explain to our viewers that the pawn is attacked, and let's say if you castle, then you might actually end up in a very big trouble because either you're being checkmated or you lose the knight after g6.
Or bishop g7 was also pretty good, just to gobble up that pawn and say thank you.
Yeah. Like, if I want to be very greedy, I would say after... Yeah, this is actually very strong, very much stronger, because here after queen g5 there is knight e8 now that I see it. Yeah, so bishop g7 is the precise version of it. Either way, it's not gonna happen. We have now bishop c5. So now, so far we actually follow what we predicted. Here the move that we were analyzing was queen h4. We might say it on the screens. And as I was talking about a tour, we might actually be willing to jump to the board 3.
Let's go.
All right, so Kazakhstan versus Georgia. We are looking for
Arabidze versus Mamidyarova, and this is a new player that I'm not familiar with from Kazakhstan.
Yeah, neither am I. This is interesting. All right, this was a ready opening. We have already spoken about ready earlier during the round 1. It has become pretty popular in the latest years because players are looking for a way, desperately looking how to find an advantage with. Wait, here we have this position so far. And what does it say?
Well, yeah, black seems to be doing all right in this position. How do I interpret this move knight f8 though? I mean, the problem is you want to go... Well, I don't even know where you want to. Do you want to go knight e6, knight d4? I mean, that's a question. But let's say you assume that you do. But the problem is you can't, because you're going to hang the e pawn right after knight takes d5.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm not exactly sure like what knight f8 is meant to do. I mean, maybe she just wants to, play bishop e6. But yeah, I can see like, okay, a3. I don't know about that.
What is interesting here is that apparently there is some kind of tactics, because here after knight e5, or it is the long-term compensation or tactics. It's actually tactics or long-term compensation. Tell me.
Yeah, I think. Well,
queen b. Oh my god, this is so concrete. Yeah, these are the engine moves.
You see, this move a3 was bad. A3. I wasn't so sure about this pawn move. It seemed a little bit.
Let's say I do king h1 just for let's say in structured measures. Knight takes c3, bishop takes c3, now knight e5, and after knight takes c5, knight d4. Okay. It does give a slight advantage here to white.
Yeah, because you're keeping the pawn after knight f3.
But you know what? I'm surprised. It's not
Rook
that a big
c2.
advantage after all.
Yeah.
It's still
Yeah, there's
playable.
compensation because of the dark squared bishop. Good bishop.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's the thing. So it actually, with all that being said, knight f8 with an idea knight e6 might actually work one day with the idea of sacrificing the pawn and getting the bishop and playing, yeah, some initiative.
Yeah, I wonder if she's gonna do that. Like, so she has to find knight c3 and then knight e6. Yeah, I mean, she
It's actually a lot
could
of things
find
to
that.
find, but it's from the other side, it's the concept. So you might not be willing to play queen b2 immediately. You just might be willing to go for a bishop or after the
Yeah,
bishop.
there's a lot of things that you can do. I mean, even the move pawn a5 is like, it's not like it's a horrible move for black. I mean, she might just prefer not to do anything very forcing, you know?
Yeah. And then let's assume knight e4, going to c5. Yeah, it's a playable position. f5, knight c5.
Knight
Here,
d7 or knight.
yeah, 97 is like that point you realize, oh shoot, probably shouldn't have put that knight to f8.
One of our audience says she probably wants to put her queen on c2 to justify a3. Let's see if that's the case.
That
She wants
actually makes some sense. I wouldn't
queen
say it's
c2.
no, I wouldn't say it
Yeah,
surprises me.
queen c2 would be possible as well. Yeah.
Right, we have queen c2 here, let's say, suppose. And yeah, playable. All right, my guess, this game is gonna be changing a lot because for now we cannot say anything. The position is objectively equal. So let us have a look at the board number 4 of this match. We have here remind me who we have on the board 4.
On the board 4, we got Javahishvili versus Dowletsova.
Yes, this is it. So Bibisara is not playing this match. Bibisara survived, and this is quite weird for me because Bibisara is way stronger than the board 3 and board 4 of Kazakhstan. And I believe I didn't see her in the round 1 either, but okay. Either way, look at the time. 41 minutes for Lila and only 29 for Gulmir. It means Black is way more confident here. What happened in this game? We had this kind of, ooh, wow.
I
Okay.
thought it was some kind of a Sicilian, but I completely was not guessing the opening.
Yeah, this is the Rue Lopez and D3.
Yeah,
Wait,
anti-Berlin,
first of all,
anti-Berlin.
it's okay. It's anti-Berlin. This is how it's called. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now we have it. And this is the current position.
Okay, you see,
Wow,
this is
how
there was
exciting.
such a big change in the pawn structure that I just thought, oh, like it's some kind of Sicilian. I never would have guessed that, you know, seeing that pawn structure.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised by the c takes d6 move. It's not like the move that comes to your mind immediately. You sort of first look at queen d6, but what's more surprising for me is that the evaluation bar agrees with the choice of Lila taking c with c d6. Now the idea, I would say, put the bishop to e6, rook to c8, and play against the c4 square. And I would say that someone who is a very experienced Sicilian player would easily go for this structure.
And she is an experienced Sicilian player because Lela Javakashvili also plays a Sicilian, and I think her Sicilian lines are more like E6 Sicilian. But I mean, I think for her, it's not. I was actually, in fact, I thought it did come out of a Sicilian because that's what she plays. I didn't actually know that she was playing this kind of Rai Lopez stuff. That surprised me a little bit. But I do think she's doing fine here, and then she's noticed the weakness of the c3 pawn. I guess my only question is, where is she going to move her knight from d8? Is the knight going to go to c6? I'm not sure. Is the knight going to go to e6 and try to go to like maybe f4? But it can get restricted as well. So
Yeah,
that's kind
after
of the question for
g3.
me.
Yeah, this knight is real awkward, but you might actually put the knight to e6 and the bishop to b7. That would make some sense. We already have bishop f4 as the move on the board.
Yeah, b5 isn't like b5 is interesting, but then there might be a4. After bishop c2, there could be some kind of.
Let's see this one, and here we have a4 exactly, putting some pressure on the b5 square. And it seems like white is the first to attack, so it actually might not be something that black wants. Here,
yeah, still not bad. I mean, still maybe some playable position right here. Yeah, because b5, then e4 hangs.
yeah, that actually might still be okay. Rook takes a8. We have, let's say, if black takes, then there's gonna be a hello, how are you doing from the bishop. Oh, queen c6, but there is bishop e7. And in the case of queen b5 back, in fact, it's even easier. It's queen c7, giving some advantage to black. So getting back to this point, in fact, no one has to play b5 immediately. Black is not forced to do it. So black has some multiple choices. For instance, trying to improve with knight e6 first and keeping this idea b5, bishop b7 for later on.
Yep. So, I mean, what is white going to do here after knight e6? Let's think about that.
Yeah.
White's strategy. Should white play c4, by the way? At some point? I mean, c4 is actually
c4 might actually... Okay, let's consider c4. Weakening d4 square, but saying there is no dark squared bishop. Now we have a5, and now the fight is not only for d4 but also for c5. Yet another dark square that is in black's.
Good points. Yeah, after a3, you're gonna take and play bishop d7.
Ooh, and this is a blunder because pawn takes, and bishop d7. Nice. And the the rook is not protected because of the bishop on c1. And this is the moment where you understand how important it is to finish the development before you go into the middle game. This is what we teach to all the beginners, and sometimes it works even for experienced players.
Yeah, so that move is not going to happen, right? c4 is not very good. So after knight e6, we may expect what? So there's rook d1 is a reasonable move.
Bishop d7 just happened.
Bishop d7. Okay.
Yeah, this is a little bit different from what we saw. Here we expect bishop takes d7 would make a lot of sense. Because normally when you want to, when you have a weakness, when your opponent has weakness, you kind of want to trade. But now that the moment I was saying it, I remember the c3 pawn. It is actually interesting who is having a weaker position here in terms of pawn structure.
Yeah, I mean bishop e3. Here, or even let's say bishop e3.
Bishop e3, okay.
And I want to play c4 somewhere.
You want to play c4. Let's say I improve my worst piece, knight a6. You could play c4. And I assume something like rook c8 would happen. Now rook e. No? Yes, you kind of want to put this rook here or not?
Yeah, let's put it there.
All right. By the way, we already have bishop takes d7 on the board and bishop... Wait, what? Yeah, and knight takes d7. So we're approaching our analysis so far. Yeah, this is interesting. Like, when you look at this position, first of all, you would say, okay, white has a better center, more space, and position is open, and we have a bishop against the knight. So normally, strategically, wise speaking, white should have an advantage, but apparently this position is equal, and it means that black does have some counter arguments to equalize here.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely would still take white if I had to choose a side, Like if all things being equal, why not pick the side with a space advantage, right? If your opponent makes a mistake, you kind of have more to work with. So I still slightly prefer white. She's actually okay. She's behind on the clock. I mean, yeah, black's position is solid. Did she play bishop e3? I think that's the position on the
Yeah,
board.
bishop e3 and now rook c8. This is the current position on the board.
Yeah, so maybe not any big problems for black, but still white plays c4 and I just think has an easier game at this point.
Okay, c4.
Yeah, you have total control. I mean, black can try at some point f5, but I'm just not sure that really helps them in any way. Like, so the question is like, where is the counterplay going to be, right? And that's where I struggle with for black.
Yeah, that is it. We expect 96 here. And that is going to be an interesting and a long fight. Wow. It looks like we've made a tour of all the games from the match of Georgia versus Kazakhstan. I suggest we now take a short break and then get back to you in a very few moments.
That sounds good. We'll see you guys in a few minutes.
welcome back to the round 2 FIDE World Women's Team Championship. Dina Belenkaya, Irina Krush, here we are. And the round 2 is right in the middle. We have been following so far the games from the matchup between Kazakhstan and Georgia. This is a very intense match of the Pool B. But seems like we haven't paid any attention yet to the Pool A. How about we go to this one?
All right, let's do it, Dina. Let's see who is playing in Pool A. We got Russia is playing France, and Kostyuk is resting in this round after her win. Garyachkina is up against Sabag. Let's take a look at that.
Yeah, that's an interesting game. So we have the board one, Alexander Garyachkina here with white pieces, facing Marisa back with black, and the position it looks equal. We should probably take some time.
Must
to
have
go
been an
for the
exchange
opening.
Slav or something.
Okay.
Nope, was not an exchange Slav. Oh, Garyashkina. She's playing like kind of like I played against her in the online Olympiad, same line.
Oh,
Line's a bit different.
nice.
I mean, with the bishop e2 and b3 and bishop b2, this kind of stuff, rook e1.
So
A little
you
bit
were
different.
having black. Oh, you were having white in that game.
Yeah, I was having white against her. Yeah, and let's see what this. I mean, right now, she really doesn't have very much, does she? I mean, just bishop d6. Okay. So yeah. So black has a choice here. Okay, she can take on b5, or she can
Right.
play bishop d6 and give up the bishop pair.
Yeah, this is the choice. There is also bishop a5.
Wow.
Oh, this is interesting. Bishop a5. Let's take a look at
Yeah.
this one. And if he has something like, let's say b4, but then there is our knight that is hanging. And if you go, you don't have any square to go with a knight. Wow, this is very creative. All right, a3. Yeah. All right, so far we're in the move 19. Oh, sorry, we're in the move 18. And the opening is finished. So can we suggest that Marisa Bag has perfectly equalized out of the opening? I mean, assuming that she makes a decent move here.
Yeah, I mean, she has a big decision here between like 3 possible moves. Okay, I'll tell you which move she's not going to play. Okay, I'll at least tell you one line that I managed to calculate. It's not that impressive of a calculation, but here we go. A takes b5. A takes b4. Now, queen b4, there's a problem with this because at first I was thinking maybe black could try to take that pawn, but there's bishop a3, I think. And there's an issue for that queen because on queen c3, rook c1, well, actually, you're still not completely trapped. I mean, there's still a queen a5.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Maybe, I mean, you obviously have a lot of compensation and you can go queen c1 and all of that, right?
Yeah, protecting the bishop and attacking the other bishop. And this with a pawn down for white. Seems like white is doing perfectly well, but this is super deep. But I have good news. We already have the move, and this is bishop a5. And the good news is about the fact that bishop f5 was the only way, according to the engine, to equalize here. But yeah, okay, the position should probably require more deep analysis from the computer to give you the precise evaluation.
So b4 is probably going to happen, right? b4.
And we already have it. And bishop takes b4. You know what? Once again, I like every time when I see when I watch Marie's games, I'm always impressed because she is really not playing much. And as far as I know her, and I've had some chats with her, she doesn't train now as she used to, and yet she keeps this very, very high level. And to get back to the point I was saying earlier, she's facing objectively current strongest female player that is active, and she managed to finish the opening pretty successfully. And You know, nowadays chess, high-level chess, is sometimes about opening. Like either you survive or you do not survive. And sometimes if you do not have this practice and you do not work on the openings, like you not get up to date it every single, like, let's say, week or so, you might actually not be equalizing. And she's playing black.
Yeah, so let's take a look. If okay, A takes B4. I guess A takes B5 is the move. Now you can't take the pawn because of queen takes B4. You cannot take on B5. So what is left here? I mean, obviously there's interesting moves like rook A7.
All right, rook A7.
Yeah, but then is there queen B4 or there's bishop A3? There's
Queen
kind of
B4,
sharp,
bishop
yeah.
A3.
I mean,
Is this
then there's queen
extremely
C3,
sharp?
you know? There's queen C3, you still can't take the bishop. I mean, so
There are
white
two
has to be
pawns.
careful. Yeah, white has to be careful. Maybe rook A7 was not such a great move. We can go back a little bit.
Yeah, let's go back.
So you were suggesting queen B3. Yeah, interesting. Instead of rook
Alright,
A7.
queen B3 instead of rook A7. This is what I was pointing on.
So at the moment, black is up a pawn, but of course, you know, it's not a very important pawn, and the bishop on B7 is not very good. Knight E4 is interesting, and there's a very interesting plan, Dina. Knight D6, knight C4.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one. But I have news for you. Bishop takes B5. And now when knight D6, I go bishop D3. And if you go now,
you're
knight
gonna go
C4.
B5.
Ooh.
Probably.
Wow.
Or I mean, yeah, because if you let me play B5.
Yeah, it's not something that I want to be. My bishop would become a pawn if I let you play B5.
Yeah, both.
Well, this is complex, super complex.
Yeah. No, but I do have the feeling that black is fine. And black is, you know, did a good job of getting to this position. So what is she thinking about now? What's the current position on the board?
Okay, let me update you. So we have knight A7. Ooh, knight
Okay,
A7.
Yeah,
Rook
she went for
A8.
this one. Rook A8, pawn takes
4.
And what is her
We expect
compensation here?
knight takes, oh, rook takes A7. And what is the compensation?
Yeah, she's gonna go probably B5 and bishop A3. I mean, she's probably, the compensation is probably the dark squared bishop.
Okay, that makes sense. A5, let's say, you go bishop A3 now or later.
And the C file. She'll probably, let's go now because there might not be.
Ooh, look at the bar. Bird disagree with you.
Right, because it wants to go rook A8, rook C8, and it wants to just say, hey.
I have a protected pass pawn.
Yeah.
And this is an extra pawn. Correct. Wow, interesting. So the right move here still exists, but it is not bishop A3. It is, in fact, queen C2, getting into the C file as far as possible. Queen D8, now rook C1, again threatening, and now if rook A8, same move that we saw already. We have queen C8, but queen C7. But guess what? The position is still in black's favor, so that's actually a big question, and it is right now in front of Alexandra Gereshkina to answer this question. What is she going to do here? Now that she's thinking and she's trying to come up with something, I suggest we need to visit some other interesting places, monuments.
All right, we got Lagno versus Navratescu, Shuvalova versus Ben Mezba. Any of those would be good. Oh, Lano. Wow, Lano looks, of course, looks very suspicious with that king on E2 for white.
Okay, so it was in English. It was in English with bishop b4. Okay. Wow. Whoa. So fast, f5. How interesting. Oh, this is because white played e4. Now it makes sense. Wow. Okay. This is still very dynamic. You know, oh, this is a very typical Rosalima reversed with taking on c6, the knight, if you're familiar with this positions, you might recognize it as well. It seems like white is doing some very strange things, but I'm surprised to see that so far black doesn't have any advantage yet, even
I know.
though
I'm
white's.
shocked. Oh, she's got the queen trade. That's why. That's
Oh,
the thing. The
wow.
queen trade is forced. Otherwise, I would just be like, white's completely losing. I couldn't understand it. But
Yeah.
then you just have to realize that the queen trade is already on the board and it is completely
Wow.
forced.
I think this was the most like crucial position in terms of here
Yeah.
we see the king. It's completely weak, so there must be a way for black to take over, but it didn't
Yeah.
happen in the game, and
No,
apparently a
I think there were
simple
lots of good moves here. I mean, even Queen E7, it looks very interesting. Even that,
queen a7, queen d2.
like Rook AE8. I mean,
Yeah, with queen
wow.
e7, you might not stop me from castling.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna go, yeah, Queen H4 for
Yeah,
sure.
but if you go something like rook e8, now you stop me from castling because on queen d2 you got you must have got something coming very fast like b5 or knight e5. Yeah, this was the point. It wasn't played in the game either way. There was d5, and now what we see is that the king is open but the queens are getting trade, so it is actually a bonus for white because now
Yeah.
the bad king that was supposed to be bad is justified by the fact that it's an end game and the king is the strongest piece in the end game, and now it is in the center, and this is where it should be.
Yeah, now white, I mean, is feeling very comfortable. Bishop versus knight, king in the center, there's absolutely, I think, no problem in this position. So then we got Shuvalova versus Ben Mesma.
Yeah, that's also an interesting game. What do we have here? Ooh, that sounds like a very big advantage for Polina. Interesting. How did it start? So it was the Sicilian. Now there is Sulima I was talking about, but we only difference like the positions we were speaking about would like appear after B takes C6. Here C takes C6. It's another structure. Either way, we've got this. It's funny for me to see this because I've actually played it myself with white against Polina being black. And now Polina is having white pieces here. So what was the mistake? So far, everything is under control for white. So where did they go wrong? Oh, it was this queen b4 move. All right. Queen b4 is a little bit in the wrong direction. Going for a pawn, being greedy, but well, it's not even pawn, it's attacking. But one queen is not a soldier. Like how we say, one soldier is not the army. This is what we say in Russian. I don't know if such a proverb exists in English as well. And this is the
Right now,
current
she somehow
position.
managed to keep her extra pawn.
Yeah.
Black's pieces back a bit. And the bishop
So
on G7 is like completely locked out of the action for now.
yeah. Bishop on G7 is blocked. So it's like a perfect position for white. So this queen b4 was definitely not the right direction, as we said once again. Instead, black should have tried something like bishop e6, being a little bit faster. And after long castle attacking, one thing that we need to know about opposite castles is that the plans in such kind of positions are always to attack, and the side that starts the attack the first gets it all. So here, queen b4 to conclude was definitely a loss of time. Yeah, a tempo at least.
Yeah, and so
Because
in the current position, is Black trying to play B5?
even the b5, like the current position, you're saying the current position,
Yeah,
b5. Yeah, let's see what
Th-
happens after
she's
b5.
thinking, and
We have c takes b5.
Mhm.
Let's see. I assume you want to take with a
Yeah,
pawn.
probably you're gonna go Knight D5, right? That's the whole key.
Mm, blocking everything. So black's attack is a little bit stopped. Also, one more thing that comes to my mind. A very good way to react when being attacked is to open the center and to take the control of the center over the center. And this is what we see with this knight d5.
Yeah, I think I see a point to her move A6. She played A6 in order to take with the A pawn and not to give up the C6 square. So this is interesting.
Actually
Okay,
makes
but there's a
sense.
lot of things that white can do. Let's think about some of them. So first of all, on b5, we would like to ideally play c5, but then you go b4. So,
All right. So where would you like to? I assume you play something. Let's say queen b, queen a3, and now b5. Let's consider this one. So you don't want to capture.
not too much, yeah, not particularly. I don't want to capture.
I
b5,
assume rook move.
I'd like to play in principle, but then you have b4. I mean, maybe it's not the end of the world. Maybe it's not. Maybe you just take on b4 and just say, well, we'll trade the rooks, play queen d4 or something. It's quite possible that this wasn't that big of a problem.
Again, there is only one queen that is attacking, and it's not much. You cannot capture on c5 because then you would say bye-bye to your queen.
Yeah.
Interesting. I bet this position is still playable, very much playable for black. Like on practical level, it is always easier to attack than to defend. So there is this kind of thing, like if black is attacking here, it might actually put more pressure on white. That could actually influence their moves, but still very big advantage for white so far. Let us go on and see what is happening.
Alexeyeva.
Yeah, this is interesting.
Slinska is black. It looks to me like she played a Sicilian Najdorf. Am I right?
Ooh,
not
at all.
I meant dragon. Oh.
Not at all. This all was
Grunfeld?
Yeah, I wanted to say Grunfeld, but this is London, so it became
wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so my guess was completely wrong. Okay.
I would say like Indian, King's Indian.
Yeah, I mean, so it's like some London with the fianchetto. Okay, let's get to the current position.
Yeah, Alina is extremely strong when it comes to openings. In fact, her husband Radoslav Wojtaszek is a very well-known theoretician, so they do share the ideas. And when facing Alina, it's extremely important to finish the opening with everybody aboard. Like everyone being safe and sound. And let's see if Sylvia managed to do it somehow, or did she not? That's the question now I'm asking.
Oh yeah, but it really does have the contours of a dragon, with the opposite sides castling, and this is actually very interesting. Very brave play by Sylvia. She went queenside, and she kind of estimated that her H pawn would also give her pretty quick play. I mean, she didn't have to go queenside, right? She could have, I guess, chosen something more conservative in terms of castling. But she went for the maximally interesting option over there. And like now it's really interesting, like whose attack is better here, right? So I find this position fascinating.
Yeah.
Is she gonna go, queen h4, or not? Queen h4? I don't know. It's something worth thinking about. Now black can say, well, that's no big deal. I'll just play rook f d8, and queen h7 is just one check, and I'll put pressure on the d file. So that's why this position is balanced for now. Neither's black doesn't have any bad pieces. On the other side, white has an open file against black's king, and black doesn't yet have an open file against white's king in the same way.
That's interesting. But so far, like once again, objectively, Sylvia has done a very good job here. White is perfectly fine, and even like on practical level, it looks more dangerous for black to play against this H file being totally open.
Yeah, but you have to be a little careful. Okay, so she went bishop f4 because the thing is the centralization that black has. I mean, now black has an obvious move, right? So he's going to go rook f to d8. And that's what I mean. Like, you have to be a little careful because black has really, really nice pressure on the d file.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, I assume rook f d8. Now, what would we have here? Sounds like, can I try queen Ooh, I tried. It didn't
You
work out.
tried, and what's the problem?
The problem is that the knight is attacked. Oh yeah, here's the thing I remembered from someone. One grandmaster once told me that don't you know whenever you have the bishop on g7 or like the fianchetto bishop, it's impossible to checkmate. This is what I see. Even if you put the queen on h3, you do not threaten anything. There's this queen h7 check and king goes away, and there's
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I think there was a little bit more pressure on white to be, creative because black's moves are a little too obvious and like, black playing through the center, it's just very easy. Yeah. And, white's attack on the H file, yeah, it's hard to make it work. I mean, maybe we can go back for a second and see what else you could do. I wasn't sure about this bishop f4 move at all. Well, h5 is definitely good, but yeah, right here. So the interesting thing is like if you don't think that you're better, then you might need to bail out. But the thing is, how do you bail out? Like 95 doesn't really look right. It just loses the f2 pawn somewhere. Like you're gonna take.
Let's see. I take the rook. Ooh.
Yeah, you can take on d1. Sure, you can take on
Okay,
d1
let's
or on
see.
e5. I think it's the
Please.
same.
I take on d1. You take on d1. Bishop takes. Queen takes. And now queen takes f2. Actually, you you have an e7 pawn, and after queen takes g2, you have still some chances. Yeah, it seems pretty active. Might actually be not that bad for white. I mean, if
Rook
you want
d7
to,
or something? Is that it? Rook d7?
well, rook
Because
d7.
black cannot put a rook on the open file.
Hmm,
I'm
interesting.
thinking like maybe it's not as stupid as it looks, leaving I mean, white's playing for a draw, obviously, like their king is like left open for perpetual.
Wow, this is super complex.
Yeah. You don't have queen b4 because of queen g1, and black is
Ooh,
trying to
watch
open up
out.
white's king.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. This is the board for Russia versus France.
Yeah.
And that's about it. Shall we have a look at some other games we have
Let's
here?
do Manadze versus Harika.
Yeah, that is an interesting one. So, board number one of Spain versus India. What do we have here?
Well, okay, it's a little tricky to evaluate. I would so the pawns are even, 6 pawns each. And it's funny that black just put themselves into this pin. On the other hand, okay, black wants to play c5, right? So it's all about the move c5. If they can get that in, open their bishop, I mean, they're good. And c5 is with a tempo, so bishop g2, c5. Yeah, I can see why the computer bar, it's fine for black, and it's because of the power of the move c5. Literally, all of the whole evaluation is coming from that. What's funny, Dina, is if white could somehow, blockade that pawn, put a queen on c5, white might be quite happy here, but that's a very hard thing to do. Right now the bishop is hanging, and it just seems like the idea is unstoppable. And it's interesting, Harika is a little bit down on the clock, which she almost never is. So I guess this game was a little hard for her, but right now she seems to be on top of things.
Yeah, let us briefly see how did all that happen. We had this kind of Catalan. Ooh, this is actually now Grunfeld, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we got this, wow, interesting pawn structure. Okay. Everything's going well so far. And how did that rook come to? Oh, here it is. Wow. And after queen d4, rook f6, we have the position on the board. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I think it was very complicated, leading up into this position. This is a little simpler to evaluate. So let's just predict a move here for white, yeah, shall we? Where is this bishop gonna go? Well, I mean, it's a little easier for black to play just because I feel like his rook on a8 is more active than the rook on a1. So there's a lot of things that can happen with like trades on the d file of the queens. But still, black's pawn majority on the queen side seems like more useful than the white's pawn on e3. So yeah, I do find like, now white is the one that has to make all of the difficult decisions. And white's going to be trying to make a draw here.
Yeah, that actually makes sense. Let's say queen e4. And also weird way to place your queen. Yeah, it's kind of... I'm trying to come up with logical moves. Normally you would want to push, but the bishop is not protected. So you want to protect the bishop. Then it comes to either rook b8 or rook a7. But at the same time, in such kind of positions, this is not kind of the move that you actually want to do. Yeah, this is a complex game. All right. There is board number 2, India versus Spain. We have Vaishali here with white pieces against Sabrina Vega. And seems like this is something where we could have way more fun.
Yeah, so what do we got here? We got 6 and white is up a pawn. It's black's turn to move. Black's going to take on e5, or then it's going to be some kind of an end game after queen e2.
Wow, actually, like I saw how many pieces are being under attack right now. Both queens and the knight. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of calculation. I'm wondering what was the last move. And the last move was, yeah, the bishop f5 attacking white's queen, and here white took on e5 attacking the opponent's queen instead.
Yeah, so if black takes on d3, white takes on d6.
If we trade the queens.
Yeah, some advantage in the end game. I mean, okay, white is just better here, yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay.
Two
and
bishops.
If you take the queen,
take on d3,
take on d6.
Yeah, the problem is the d6 pawn is strong now.
Again, the pawn, yeah.
Again, the knight is getting chased away, and the pawn is really good. So it looks like Vaishali has the advantage here in several different ways. So Dina, we are going to go on a break, and we're going to come back. The players are going to get down to like the most critical parts of their games when we return.
back to the round 2 of FIDE World's Women's Team Chess Championship. And here we are. We have seen so many exciting games, but they are still in progress. And we have just covered the matchup between two very strong teams. These were India versus Spain. I believe we've covered board 1 and board 2. We have still board 3 and board 4. Irina, shall we go on with this matchup?
All right, let's continue. Yeah. So we looked at Harika versus Matnadze, Vaishali versus Vega. So we have Kulkarni versus Azagueri. Let's take a look.
All right. Here we have them in the Bhakti, right? This is the player.
Bhakti.
Here we have it. Ooh, what is happening here?
So white played queen d3, getting out of some pin. Strange, right? Because like, look at the last move. What was the last move? Queen d3 to c4. Was that it?
Yeah, that is correct. And it was actually d takes c4.
Oh, okay.
And
No.
takes.
See, that makes sense because I was confused. I didn't know there was a pawn on c4. So I was like, well, why didn't you just play bishop takes b6, right?
Oh, yeah.
But because there's a pawn threatening your queen, not the rook threatening your queen. That's why she took back. Okay, now I understand. Okay, so queen takes c4. The queen is hanging. On the other hand, white's development is not very good. Black has the bishop here, and white's king seems to be in more danger.
Okay, bishop e6
happened. Wow.
Attacking.
Really?
Okay.
Okay, yeah, sure. I guess bishop b6, I mean, you're going to be very comfortable after rook d1, king d1, bishop c4. I think d1, maybe even throw a rook in rook d1, yeah, and then bishop c4.
Okay. That actually makes some sense.
The thing is, like, you have to move your bishop because you can't even play knight f6 because, like, a takes b6 is too terrible. No, I meant you have to move like the bishop from b6 here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you move it somewhere, and
so bad. Wow.
Yeah, bishop b6 was a strong move by Bhakti.
Okay, let us quickly see how it all started. We had, in fact, my favorite Scandinavian defense, and normally, like, let's say objectively, black doesn't really equalize, but it's also tricky for white because sometimes you really need to remember the correct exact move order if you ever want to fight for advantage. So here we had knight f6 and bishop g4, but wait, now that I'm thinking,
the main move is c6, I think, right?
Yeah, that's it. Or bishop f5, either c6 or bishop f5. That's it.
Bishop g4 is a little early. I mean, white's probably going to play knight f3, right?
But in fact, it exists with this idea. Now that I remember it, I even played it myself. Now f3, bishop d7. And the idea is that you actually play e6, and then you play, guess, in what style? In the style of Queen's Gambit Accepted. Willing to develop her this way. So, yeah, here queen b6, queen e2. But seems like... Wait, what? Black is better? Black was better here. Okay, knight d4, queen d3, long castle. Black is doing fine. So where was the mistake then? Knight d4, e6, bishop e3, e takes d5, bishop takes d4. No.
Yeah, they had a complicated game, but at this point, black is doing pretty well.
Okay. So it worked. It worked, in fact, for Bhakti. As I was saying, for some reason I think I was mixing up the things. But either way, the fact is black did manage to get a great advantage. Well, when we look at the rating, we would say, yeah, that's understandable. Black is a favorite here. But let's not forget, this is the rapid rating. And for some players, especially for young players, it might actually be wrong numbers, not meaning matches. We've seen it so many times in the online Olympiads.
Yeah, let's take a look at the next game, Gomez versus Garcia.
Yeah, this is an interesting thing. This is an interesting fight here. Ooh, wow, this is interesting. Oh, look at the light squares and the bishop on a8. Isn't that a monster? I dream of any bishop to become a bishop like this.
Yeah, so this one is going well for Spain, actually. So we have Marta Garcia Martin. I don't know this player. It says she's an international master, so I should know this player. But I think my first time seeing her play, and she is doing really, really well right now against Marianne Gomez.
Yeah, that's correct. And here what we can see is something that really pleases me. Look at this double fianchetto, such a almost magical position here. In fact, wait, isn't black to tempo down? Like normally, no, it's no, I'm confusing. It's only one tempo down, so this is correct. So c4, c5. Oh, it's completely symmetrical. e3, and here black decided to change the flow of the game after d5. Okay, so this is the position that we have right now.
Yeah.
I mean, coming to the position that we have right now.
White got nothing from the opening.
That's correct. Ooh, whenever you play this, ooh, bishop takes c. Oh, this is a suicide move. I mean,
well, her position, she felt like it was really bad because
yeah.
I mean, she's pinned on the d file. Pieces really can't move. I mean, it's actually quite a disaster here for white.
That explains a lot of things. So bishop takes c6. This is like sometimes when you look at the game and you see, bishop takes c6, you might actually make a conclusion like if white really had to make this move, it means that everything was really, really bad.
Yeah, I mean,
and bishop b.
oh, okay. So maybe she missed queen b7 or something, or she had some idea. But it's hard to miss queen b7.
I mean, you actually threatened to checkmate on h1, but that's an obvious move, so I doubt that would be a miss. e4, and this is the position that we have right now. Here, I guess it's not difficult to predict black winning this game.
Yeah, but you know what's interesting to predict is she going to play rook takes d3 or not? That's the fun part, Dina. What do you think? Rook takes d3, knight takes d3, queen e4.
Wow. How creative. I really love it.
But you know, I learned this from Nana Zagnize.
Oh,
sack
did
the
you?
Exchange. Yeah, sack the exchange from her game against Anna Muzichuk in the last round. I was like, let's do the same thing.
Yeah, that's very, very creative. I really love this move. This little tactical blow showing that you completely dominate the game. Wow, amazing.
I think she played this, right, or not, or is she still thinking? What's the
for now? Yeah, black is still thinking for now. Yeah,
you have to be a little careful about sacrificing a rook, but I mean, it's not a real big, not a very difficult sacrifice to make.
Yeah, here the point is that you don't have much of a choice. I mean, otherwise you have to go rook d4, but then there is bishop c3, and you've got rook d7. Okay, yeah, there is a choice. There is a choice here. There is knight f3, but knight f3 you can just So objectively speaking, black is not in the situation where he risks anything, even if he doesn't give away this exchange.
Maybe we should go and take a look at Garyachkina versus Sabagan, again, the Russia versus France match.
Yeah, that's a good...
Checking in quickly on those boards.
Yeah, I was personally interested in the matchup between Armenia and Azerbaijan.
Yeah, because of their...
Yeah, we can
geopolitical story.
Yeah, but this is like me as a commentator, I should avoid those subjects. But this is like my personal interest, always looking for those clashes of like size, but yeah, like not willing to be mean at all, just looking for some action, you know, as a
Yeah.
spectator.
So, well, let's see. Do we have the updated position in the game with Goryachkina and Sabag, or
Yeah,
because yeah,
this is
because this
actually very misfortunate because we don't have anything here,
we don't have any
and
moves.
it doesn't show the result either, so I cannot update you here, unfortunately.
Okay, how about Lano versus Navratilescu? They're definitely in the middle of their game. We just saw them.
Okay, Lagno versus Navratilescu. Okay, here we have some updates. Knight e5, followed by rook d1, b5 takes, and now we have this kind of an end game. And before
she's managing to kind of make life difficult for her opponent. Yeah.
Interesting. This is actually pretty equal.
Yeah, but maybe not difficult enough. So rook c5, I guess.
Difficult, but not difficult enough. Yeah, seems like Wade is doing pretty well.
Pawn c3 is also possible. And rook c4, rook c8.
Rook c4.
Chase down that pawn. Yeah, just take on c3.
Okay, but you wanted to take it.
Oh, yeah, okay. But what you're saying is also good. Rook c3.
Like, let's take it.
Let's My idea was c4. Take it and just play rook c8. But your idea was rook d3.
Rook e5. Now king. Ooh, tactics. Boom. But there's boom. So you cannot. Now rook dd5. Ooh, careful. Rook dd5, I said. And c6. And now, wow. Just rook c5. Yeah, it seems like so many options. Okay, we have king e3. And now black is thinking. Rook d3 happened in the game.
Yeah, I mean, black is fine, and white is trying to make a draw. Yeah, let's go back actually to Georgia versus Kazakhstan. We haven't taken a look at that in a while. This is Pool B, so we have Zagnize versus Abdu Malik. And we do, yeah. Then we can also take a look at maybe at how Ukraine is doing against the FIDE Americas. So Zagnize. Abdu Malik, wow, not liking Zagnize's position. What something went seriously wrong. She's up a pawn, but her king is weak, like really, really quite weak, and bishop is very poor.
Ooh, look at this bishop and look at this king. That's not same match. Let's see when was the last time we left the ladies on their own. It was somewhere here. We said after c6, you don't want to take on c6. We said b4 would be more logical. And now you take, you create some sort of a weakness. Yeah, weakness. Now queen e7, knight d2, bishop f5. And we actually have this one. Okay. Queen c4, bishop e7, knight c5, bishop takes, queen takes, and bishop h3. Ooh, okay.
So everything was under control. So somehow things went from under control to out of control.
Yeah, and more precisely.
I don't know about that. Bishop takes h3 was kind of weird, wasn't it?
Yeah, did you see that? Like at first, computer actually suggests it as well, and then sees that it doesn't really work.
Yeah, okay. It's a bit of a weird decision, but she couldn't take on c6. Let's just show why she couldn't take on c6 immediately. Because I think there is some tactics with queen c6.
Yeah, there's a tactical blow after bishop takes, king takes, and boom, discovered check and attack on the rook on d1 would be pretty big upset. That's why it didn't happen. Bishop takes h3, queen takes h3, queen c6, king g7, queen c4, knight f6, queen f1, saying, I'm okay admitting I'm worse, just let's please go to an endgame. No endgame is gonna happen. We're gonna attack. And this is what happens. Attack after h4, g takes h4, queen e4.
So I guess she's planning some rook h8 soon. Oh, she played it, yeah.
Yeah. Now look how cruel it is. Computer says first line rook c7. Nana listens to it. I mean, figuratively speaking. And plays rook c7. And after rook h8, it actually gets pretty bad after queen b3.
Oh, okay. So
knight d5. And ooh, this is what we have right now.
What,
Queen f3.
what's the problem here? Is it?
Wow.
Oh, interesting. So let's queen f3. Just keep everything protected and.
This is interesting. Now we
Why
have.
it's interesting why it's so bad for white. I mean,
Yeah, you're trying to understand. Like, do not look at the computer. Try to understand it with your own brain. But okay, the rook is attacked, and this it happened. It happened. So we'll see the explanation soon. But assume you just move the rook somewhere. Let's say you take the pawn. You've got. Wait, what? Rook h5. Wow, this is such a long-term attack, and the advantage is so big. But there is nothing like concrete. Although g5 seems pretty natural. Wow.
yeah, because the bishop on e1 is horrible, right? This is just like basically like white is playing without that bishop.
Yeah, you don't need to be an expert here to understand that black is the one who is pushing.
So then we have already one game finished. Sadvakasova drew Batsi Ashvili. Let's take a look at Daisy Corey versus Muzichuk because we have not seen that at all.
Daisy Corey versus Muzichuk. Yeah, that's an interesting match. We have here Corey from FIDE Americans, and she's facing Anna Muzichuk. And looks like black is winning.
Yeah, because black's up a pawn. They can always play bishop c4 and just be doing great. I don't see any real compensation. I mean, black is a great knight on d5. The bishops are not, out of control active here. So yeah, there's just not enough compensation. What about Lujan versus Muzichuk?
Yeah, this is interesting. Lujan represents Argentina, while Daisy represents Peru. We already said that their team is mixed. It's mixed of many different players. Ooh, here it's apparently white who is having an advantage if they manage to take the knights. But look at the time. No way. Wow, I can't believe.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to believe it. How can Lujan have 45 minutes and Muzichuk 20? It doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? Also, the players don't have that much time left.
No. We were here just before with Corey and Muzichuk, so it's definitely not the right time.
yeah. This cannot be. This is like maybe the beginning of the game. Yeah. Very strange. Right. Okay, how about, well, what can we say about the position? So black just played knight e5 and white is thinking.
Yeah, apparently the only move that gives advantage to white is bishop takes e5. But after pawn takes f5, you have a tactical blow here, don't you? Rook f8, and after king, if after rook f8 there is bishop e6, but after king f8, you have queen knight e6. And if you, let's say, you want to pin, there's just have a check, and then I take the bishop, most likely. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, wow, nice. But needs to be found.
All right, well, let's take a short break, Dina. We're going to be back in just a few minutes as we go into the final part of these games.
and welcome back to the round 2 of FIDE World's Women Team Chess Championship. We are approaching the time troubles, and time troubles mean scrambles. Irina, how excited are you about those?
Yes, let's get into the games right away, Dina. How about going back to that position? I just saw that Abdu Malik and Zagnize looked like something was really happening with Black's rook breaking through on the H file. So let's see if the young Abdu Malik is going to beat Georgia's #1 chess player, Nana Zagnize.
So rook c6 just happened, and that was a blunder because of knight f4. Oh boy.
Ooh, she took her eyes off of the f7 pawn. No, because knight
Yeah.
f4 was not possible before. Okay, so now she's just threatening mate, and actually it looks like the game is going to be over because after rook h4, how does she stop checkmate? Well, the answer is she doesn't. It is losing, and I've been talking about that bishop on e1 forever, and it's still there and it's still useless just like before, and this is the reason why white is losing this position. But I have to say, nice game by Abdul Malik. You know what, Dina? What's really funny is at some point I noticed her pawn was on h5 in this game, and it reminded me of her game against me in our second game at the online Olympiad. She also tried this kind of attack with h5, but here it works better for her.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. But this pawn march and opens everything. Pretty typical, about those pawn moves. I believe they came into the trend recently, right after artificial intelligence, Stockfish, and Lila. I mean, Stockfish becoming as human as Lila, and those engines do like pushing those pawns A and H from the side forward as early as possible in any opening.
Yeah, and then we have if we have that result, so if she's losing, if Nana loses, board 2 was a draw. All right, Javahishvili already won. Let's take a look at Arabidze because it's actually going to determine who's going to win this match. And we know that match score is important. Who's going to get to 2.5 points, or is it going to be a draw? So we're looking for Arabidze versus Kamal Lidenova.
Yeah, here we have it. Okay.
They've only got a few minutes left. So
yeah,
white is up a pawn.
Okay.
White's up a pawn, and their rook is under attack. It doesn't need to move, though. It's a good question. It might want to move. It might want to move.
Now there's rook a4.
Yeah, that's why you might want to move that rook.
But still giving advantage to white. Interesting. After king g2, engine says, I don't care. I just gave away an exchange, and then what?
Yeah, I mean, she can keep the rook there, but like, what else can we expect her to do? E3? I mean, E3 seems like not a bad move, giving the bishop the d4 square. I mean, it seems like a pretty useful move. She can move her rook back to just. Oh wait, something
happened. Bishop takes
a7.
it
was Black's turn to move. Okay.
And b takes a7. Now we expect rook a4. That would be the most logical move. Rook a4, and yeah, as I said, it doesn't actually give anything like any. It doesn't guarantee any savior for Black, surprisingly.
Yeah, so then we have also the score is 1-1 in Germany, Poland. Maybe let's take a look quickly at what's going on in Zawadzka versus Pats.
Okay, this is interesting. We haven't covered this game. We haven't covered this game before. I'm laughing because I see Elizabeth's time, which is obviously not the right. Ooh, thank you, Chess.com. 46 minutes have just been adjusted to 5. I think this is more precise. And what do we
Black
have
is a little bit better because, white has a dark squared bishop, a lot of pawns on dark squares, and black has a more active king that is going to f5 and it's going to attack those pawns. So, I mean, you can't even play knight e3 because pawn d4 wins the knight. So definitely, I feel like it's black's turn to move, right? So the only thing black should not do, I might want to point out to you, Dina, king f5, knight e3, king e4, f3 is a funny checkmate.
Ooh,
So
let's show this one.
yeah, let's not improve the
Let's
king
say
in
something
that
like,
careless way.
oh, let me wait, what? Okay, so this is black to move.
That's black to move, so you should be able to play king f5, right? We hope.
I'm not. For some reason,
No,
I'm not.
but you can make some arrows. You can show some
Yeah, like
arrows.
let's say 93, and now king to e4, and boom, f3, checkmate. The king right in the middle of the board.
Yeah, that's why she's thinking, because I mean king f5 is obvious, but actually it's not obvious because the knight just goes to e3 and the king has to go back. So, what else can she do? She can play bishop c5.
Okay, bishop c5.
That seems
Now,
reasonable.
yeah, improving your piece, maybe one day playing. Oh yeah, actually you are preparing king f5 because then after knight a3 you would have bishop takes e3, king takes, and
Exactly.
then you win the
There is
pawn.
some kind of a live game that I see that isn't some kind of a night end game. What game is that? Do you know that? Because there's something live. Is that their game now, or have we? Maybe we can update this board. Maybe they're further along already. No.
Okay, so there is this. Oh yeah, it
Yeah,
is
they're further
them.
along. Okay.
It is them. Okay, let's
And
update.
black is doing. Okay,
Whoa.
so what actually happens in that position?
Yeah, let's take a look. We're here, somewhere here, and then bishop c5. Bravo, bravo, Rina. Bishop c5 happened. f4.
Yeah.
And this is the position that we are approaching. Wow, so many things, in fact, millions of moves. And now we have
Has
knight g3
won
winning
a
for black.
pawn. Yeah, she
Ooh,
won.
right,
Yeah.
Elizabeth is winning this game.
I like the way she brought her knight back very carefully to e7 to block the e pawn, and now she's got those two pawns under attack. She's gonna win this game because her king is way better than White's king. Amazing king
Yeah.
on g4,
What
and
is
it.
interesting,
Mhm.
yeah, about it is that this game is a very good example of how you should play endgames. We have already pointed out so many times the king is the strongest piece in any endgame, and this is not an exception. Activating your king can guarantee you a win, and this is the case.
Let's take a look at Antolok versus Lumba because this game will also give us an idea: will Germany win the match, or will Poland maybe be able to
Not much
tie
of
it?
an idea given so far.
Oh, there's only one move.
Yeah.
Is that
Let's
it?
take a look at.
Okay.
Ooh, this is interesting.
Ushenina versus Ouellet. Um, well, what I like about Ouellet's position is I like the king on e4. What I like about Black's position is the knight on f5. It's very interesting. It's actually, normally, I mean, of course, Black is very happy with this knight. It has two different pawns that it's attacking. But at the same time, White has a space advantage, and I wouldn't say that the game is over at all. I mean, Black still has to find a way to break through, which is actually not clear to me where they're going to break through. I guess they're going to try King G7, Rook F7, and maybe maneuver their knight around. That's probably what she's trying to do. Like, I'm assuming she's going to go King G7 and Rook F7.
Yeah, and King G7 just happened. And just a couple of minutes ago, I said the most important thing about endgame is to activate your king. And here we are, yet the next endgame we have is the king on e4, and that's very pleasant. But indeed, the bishop on f2 being blockaded by all his pawns in the same color doesn't guarantee, like, doesn't give any hope here for white to fight for equal chances.
Yeah, White is worse for sure. White is worse, and it's unpleasant, but it's still not. I wouldn't say it's lost yet, but it's unpleasant for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
now she needs to save that. She needs to save that knight on b6, which is hanging. So I guess knight c4.
would be the move. And here we have knight takes. Ooh, wow.
Oops. Yeah, well, that's going to change things if she finds that
Oh,
tactic, which she will. She's going to win a pawn, and
ouch, ouch, ouch.
yeah, well, I think white didn't even have time to protect f3. I got f4 on time then. I thought she would be able to play like rook f3 somewhere, but there's no time. Yeah. Yeah, maybe, well, b4 was a bad move. Yeah, b4 was, she missed that. She missed knight takes h4. And
Hmm.
she probably should have like tried to save that knight from b6 earlier. How about, well, we know Anna Muzichuk was winning. Do we have any updates? Let's go to Arabidze Kamalidenova.
Okay,
We only had a
Arbitze
few seconds there in that
favor.
end game.
Hmm.
Hmm.
4 pawns against 3 should be a draw. I once won such an endgame in classical over the board game, but I managed to push f4 with a pawn on h2 and then to trade the g pawns. That was a nice plan.
Yeah, here it's not so easy to win because I mean, you just cannot really pass the fourth rank so easily. I guess,
Correct.
yeah, I mean, but Ar- Arbitse actually has less time than her opponent, so it doesn't make a huge difference here because you're getting 10 seconds per move.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna guess this game is gonna be a draw, despite White's extra pawn. And now maybe we can go and take a look at the other pool, which has so far Russia leading 2-0 against France. And maybe we'll take a look at the game Danielian Mamadzada. How about that? We going to satisfy your interest in the Armenia Azerbaijan match.
Yeah, that is indeed very exciting for me as well as for our spectators. I hope so. And looks like here Gunai is about to win. Seems like she's having two extra pawns in the end game, and white rook. Oh, sorry, white king on f1 doesn't give any hope either. So seems like it's gonna be soon a result. How about their second board? I
So it's the
see.
game Mikirchan lost. So how about Gabayan versus Mamidyarova? That game is going to decide the match because
Gabayan won. Ooh,
oh,
wow.
Gabayan won. So it's going to be a 2-2 tie, very likely.
Okay, that is interesting. Yeah, so this is the game. We also have Katerina Lagno from Russia facing. Wait.
Oh, they're still playing this position, huh?
Yeah.
Oh,
Ooh,
no,
well,
no, they're.
that is gonna be a loss for
Ooh,
white.
yeah.
I say, with all the experience I had in my games as well as commentating, even if like sometimes objectively those positions might be drawish in practical level, it's not. It's almost impossible to make draws here. Like what we were, I think I was commentating. It's not like wasn't it last Saturday or wasn't it on the Olympia? There was one game with this. Oh, I can't recall. I think it was in the Olympiads. Some of the girls were having this queen versus queen of pawn. Either way, it's very hard to defend, even when it's practically like drawish, because you always might blunder some kind of queen trade, and that's it, winning pawn endgame.
What about Gadyachkina versus Sabag? I mean, do we have any updates on that game, or we
No,
just don't? Unfortunately, yeah.
unfortunately, no.
Okay. How about India's match in that case? Vega versus Vaishali. I think we thought Vaishali was doing very well there.
Yeah, but Shelly already won. In fact, she was doing well and she won.
Uh huh. She won. Okay, it's not updated on chess results. So what about Bhakti?
Yeah, we still have this one, and seems like black is winning here.
Yeah, this is pretty bad. I mean, Black has two passed pawns. White has a doubled pawn and a backwards pawn. What a treat, isn't it?
Yeah.
White has a horrible knight on a2, and I guess the only question is how does Black break through? They're actually wait that actually is a big question.
Ooh, now that
Where is
I
the
like when I see like all
I
the lines suggested by the computer with the exact same evaluation, I recall the fact that it's actually a fortress.
Yeah, because, you know, A4,
Wow.
I mean, but still, I think black will find a way to win. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really not easy to figure
The
anything
question
out
is, what
here.
is the plan? Oh no, King D2 is a blunder. The second you said it, it is a blunder.
Yeah, the king is getting to A4, but it was pretty hard to, see
Yeah,
how
to
to save
spot
that.
it. Wow. Well, we should show
E3,
this endgame once it's over. We should show this detail.
yeah, E3, I guess.
Yeah. Well, very nice guess, Irina, from your intuition. Even if, let's say, objectively it might be a fortress on the human level, on practical level, sometimes you cannot defend.
Yeah, what is she thinking about here? So E3, yeah. And the thing is,
Yeah.
on King D3, there's bishop C3. King takes C3. Oh, wait. Wait, no, hold on. Let's not do it like that. King D3, maybe.
Knight D3 just happened.
Oh, knight D3 happened.
We have A2 and then bishop C3, then E2 and E1.
Yeah, so that's over already.
Yeah. So getting back to this position, here there were two moves that were holding. It was either King B2 or Knight C1. So let's say King B2 is understandable because you do not let A3, but why Knight C1 is good? And here we have, let's say, A3, and there's just King B3. That's the answer. And if, let's say, like, black does something, bishop G7, then you go
King B2
or knight E2. So in fact, your king has to stay here as long as he manages to control B3 square. So you basically just wait with the knight, knight E2, knight C1. This sounds like a plan to me.
What about Gomez versus Garcia? Last board.
Already draw.
Already draw.
Yeah.
Games are finishing up.
Yeah.
You
Well,
see, what is still in progress?
We have two completely winning positions. One between Gunay Mamidyarova against Elena Danilan. Gunay is winning this Rukan game, and another one is the one we just saw. And wow.
Whoa, what's going on?
What happened?
Okay,
Wait,
I mean, she did a weird thing with her bishop. She moved her bishop somewhere, right? Like,
yeah,
from the F6 square, she moved it to the other square.
bishop D6.
Very strange.
With what? Why? What would she
Wasn't her
do
bishop
that?
wasn't her bishop on F6 a few moves ago?
Yeah, it was.
Right. So this was
Bishop
very
E7.
strange.
Wait, where are you going? You could just move A2 and bishop C3 and win this one. What
that was
didn't she
very
see?
strange.
Wow, this is so weird. Knight C1, bishop D6, again mistake. E2.
I think she's still winning. She's still winning after A2 and King B3.
Yeah.
But
what knight A2 would be the move? Right? King B3.
Knight
C1, King C3. Okay, but it would be
more of a fight.
Still 20 winning. More moves at least. Wow. That is interesting. And in fact, no, but this is not possible. You do not play. This is, no, you don't play this. This is weird. Might be a mistake. Here we cannot
maybe
have it.
Maybe something is a little wrong with the.
Yeah, something is definitely wrong. Look at this craziness. Yeah, no. This is not right. This is not right. You cannot have knight e3 and bishop takes f4 in the same game. Okay, let us quickly see if we still have games in progress in the pool B. Looks like here we're gonna see a draw between Elizabeth Pats and Zavatska Yolanta. What do we have between Musichuk, Maria, and Luan Carolina? And this
we don't have anything unless we get that board updated. Oh, here we do. I think we have it updated.
Now we have it. Oh, wow, that is very nice. Oh, Irina, is this kind of positions possible to win for the side that has an exchange up?
Okay, yeah, you're gonna be testing me on my end games here, right? Wow. Huh.
Like
I
I see
mean,
the evaluation, it says like
yeah.
there is no progress to reach, but like on once again on human level, and Irina, your intuition is very good at this moment. Usually
Okay,
you
I'll tell
see,
you, my intuition is that White's gonna win this game.
yeah, I
Yeah.
see your points.
Um, if I just because I do see chances for White to win. Like White needs to, first of all, White needs to somehow get in the move G5, right? Like G5, and if you can get that move in without losing H5 pawn, if the king's on G5 and the rook goes to the seventh, and then you play H6, I mean, you win. On the other hand, if your king's on G5, let's say, right, you put your rook on the seventh rank, and they go King G8, right? Then how do you win from there?
Hmm, I
Because
see.
Black's bishop is actually the good bishop. Black has the pawns on the right colored squares for the bishop that he has. So that's why Black definitely has drawing chances here. Um, and perhaps maybe it just is
They might
going
have
to be.
finished already because oh no, they continue. Wow, this is the current position, and nothing changed much. The pawn is being attacked. Aha, the plan would be for black to somehow pass with the king to f8. Hmm, interesting.
Wait, so right now it's White's turn to move because G4 is hanging, right? Oh,
Yeah, now it's
oh.
white to move. Yeah, and g4 is hanging.
So this is the current position with the bishop on
Correct.
B1. What is she thinking about, really? She has to kind of
Um,
go rook F4 or something?
we could actually be waiting for an update. There is either rook f4 or rook f8. Both are possible. And rook f4, rook f8. Yeah, we soon will have updates. In the meantime, I'm looking at the other games. We still have this one. Ooh, this is very complex. I actually think we might be interested in this game more because there is some action happening here with only seconds on the clock.
Ushenina has 5 pawns. She's up a pawn. She's better like we thought. She's a lot better. I mean, her knight is still great. She has that extra H pawn. But, yeah, no, there's no but. It's pretty bad. It's
Yeah,
pretty
there's
bad for White. There's even a chance that White in this game will get mated on like the E3 square with a rook.
right.
Completely in the realm of the possible. She decides she's just gonna promote her H pawn. Okay, but there's some annoying checks coming. By the way, I don't know about that move. Wait, yeah, I don't know what she's doing. I don't know what this is.
Ooh, look at the bar. H3. Wasn't it some kind of a mistake? Now there's rook b7 and computer gives it a draw? No way.
H2, H2, rook E7, and perpetual check.
Whoa.
She went
Oh,
into perpetual.
that's a big disappointment for Anna.
Yeah, it wasn't that simple. What is like once she gave away this B6 pawn, I think rook H8 was probably some kind of mistake, and she maybe should just overlook the fact that it was going to be a draw like that.
Yeah, here instead of pushing the pawn, black should have activated the rook. Let's say rook d8, natural move, preparing d3. And now what changes after rook b7? And here, what changes is that there is no longer rook b8 because of this rook on d8. That's about it. Okay.
Looks like the games are getting finished because the tournament hall is emptying out. Do we have anything else going on?
Okay, this game is
Oh,
still in
let's look at this
progress.
one. Yeah. I'm very curious to see.
Nothing changed much yet. Ooh, there is a progress here. I mean, king a6, you cannot attack the pawn immediately, but you'd probably go king g8. I doubt there is any chance.
Yeah, I agree. Because the pawns and the bishop are just ideally placed, and not even that simple to play G5.
Yeah.
I mean, she can try. She can go back King E5, King F4.
King e5, king f4. Oh, it's still trying. We also have one more rook endgame, which Wow, look at this one.
Oh
Remember
yes,
this game? We had
I
a look at
do.
it. It was a big advantage somewhere here, we said, but let's take a brief look what happened. Apparently, wow. Yeah, okay. No, we actually said it might have been a draw, and now it makes more sense to me. From one side, you would say white actually achieved a lot. Bringing the king to f7 is a very big deal, but somehow doesn't give you a chance to win.
Yep.
King f8. Yeah, no plan. Wow, interesting. Exciting. So we have two end games currently going on, which are completely drawish, but both players from the, let's say, attacker's side still continue to find those ways, those chances, maybe, torture your opponent, hoping that he will just collapse and fall out of his chair or something like that, lose the energy and blunder something.
Yeah, and this means that Kazakhstan is going to get a drawn match against Georgia. So that's I think a very good result for Kazakhstan, and they're going to be led by their board one who managed to win to compensate for the loss on board four. And Ukraine, I mean, Ukraine is winning. Do we have a result? Did Anna Musachuk win already?
That Let me update you on this one. Anna Muschuk has won against Corey. Yeah, that's correct.
And Ushanina is drawing. So I mean, Ukraine is winning the match against FIDE Americas.
Okay.
But the only question is Luhan going to get a draw here? And Elizabeth passes. Her game over?
Okay, so Elizabeth has finished your game in a draw. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what does that mean, actually? What is going on in the game Antolok versus Lumba?
Mm-hmm.
Did that game finish?
No, we do not know anything about this one.
Because that depends who wins. Determines who wins, Poland or Germany, because they're going to be tied.
Yeah, we do not have any information here, unfortunately, for now. We're going to stick to chess results to be updated later on.
Yeah, I have to say, Javahishvili mated her opponent in a very nice way. Do you see how the last move, it was going to be f6 and there is no defense to checkmate? Kind of unusual in this knight end game.
This one. So this was in the pool A. Javahishvili.
Javahishvili, it's pool B.
Pool B. Yeah. Okay, and she was facing Dolerova. Ooh, wow. Wow, f6, mating the king on g5. How exciting. I really love this. The king has just crossed the border, entered to the opponent's field, and this is where they were waiting for him with a lot of hospitality. This is how I call it. f6 mate, boom.
Yeah.
Nice, very exciting. Where was the... Oh, wow. Yeah, it was a lot of attack. Here, trading the queen didn't help. Boom. King g7, and no way to escape from the mate f6 coming. Very interesting. Okay, seems like we have all the results so far.
So let's take a break, Dina, and we're going to come back in a few minutes, guys, to sum up the results of the day, talk about the standings and what we can expect for tomorrow.
back to the end of the round 2 FIDE World's Women's Team Championship. And here we are with the results. Let us now take a look at what happened. So far, we see in Pool A, Team Chess Federation of Russia leading with 4 points, meaning that they won their both matches, and they are the only team to do that in the whole tournament, since in the Pool B, we don't have any sole leader. And we also have Armenia and India with 3 points, meaning they won one match and they made a draw. And these are the teams that are just below Team CFR. And what about Pool B, Irina?
Yeah, so Pool B has Georgia and Kazakhstan leading, and they actually just played each other. Actually, they drew their match, and so that's why they're both tied. Ukraine lost to Georgia earlier today in round 1, so that's why they have sort of 2 match points instead of more than that. Germany just won their match, I believe, just barely right now, by the minimal score of 2.5, 1.5. And Germany now has 2 match points, as does FIDE Americas, which won their round earlier today. So Poland is off to a rough start. I mean, they're usually quite a strong team, and they can't be too happy about starting with 0 match points, and they're going to really have to fight to try to get into the top 4. You know, on one hand, it's not that hard to be in the top 4 out of 6, right? Because like it means almost everyone makes it. But you know, there's still going to be 2 teams that are going to be shut out of the playoffs. Let's see from today. So we had India beating Spain, just 2.5, 1.5. Only Vaishali won that game. Yeah, that was that end game that we saw. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was actually a very good score for Spain, because they almost managed to stop Team India. Pretty impressive result. Yeah, 2.5 is definitely not convincing for such a strong team as India. But either way, that's a win, and that's all what matters, because here the most important is the match points. Now let's take a look at the results that we have between Armenia and Azerbaijan. And here we have 2-2, having 2 points for the board 1 and board 2 for Azerbaijan, and from Armenia, the last 2 boards made their way to the draw. Very interesting result so far. Now, speaking of other matches, we have Chess Federation of Russia dominating over France with only 1 draw on the board 1 between Garashkin and Sebak. And once again, I have to point out that for Marie, it is a very good achievement so far, because Marie is not as active as she used to be, and she's definitely not as, let's say, hardworking as Alexandra. That being said, Alexandra is known to be the strongest active player of all time, and indeed, well done, Marie. Unfortunately, didn't manage to save her team, didn't help that out to other French players who lost their games. And when it comes to FIDE Americas facing Ukraine, that was a pretty much a big defeat for Americas. We have here only half a point as well. On the board 3, Anna Oshenia didn't manage to win her game against an underdog, but it is a win, and that's what we have.
Yeah, so I think this was a very exciting match. Georgia versus Kazakhstan. Lela Javahishvili got a point on board 4. Bajansaya Abdu Malik won a very important game with the black pieces against Nana Zagnize with an attack on her king. That was a really cool game. Other 2 games finished in draws. Mary Arabidze did not manage to win against Kazakhstan's player. So Germany barely ekes out a win over Poland. I think Monica Sachko's game finished pretty quickly. We never even got a chance to look at it, and she's a very experienced player, so I don't know what went wrong that she lost so quickly to Jana Schneider from Germany. But I think for tomorrow, what we got to look forward to, we're going to be seeing 2 more rounds tomorrow. For me personally, I already noted that we're going to see the pairings Ukraine, Kazakhstan. and also Russia, India. So that's what we have to look forward to for tomorrow, some clashes of some of the top women players in the world.
Yeah, Russia India is in fact very exciting to all the spectators, and that was the final of the Olympia 2020. And many people have expected that to be the final of FIDE Online Olympia 2021 as well. But yet there we go, Irina Krush, together with her colleagues, managed to stop Team India, and that's why we didn't see Russia India in those finals. But we will see it tomorrow.
Yeah, guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out with us for all these hours. We hope you enjoyed the coverage and that you'll be back for more this week.